So the real question, or maybe the big question, is what kind of real estate do small-scale manufacturing businesses really need? Well, it's a great question because ultimately we want these businesses to be on Main Street or maybe in light industrial areas, but different kinds of businesses need different kinds of spaces. So this is a big part of what we do when we work with communities. We look at all of these different kinds of spaces in a very purposeful way, because not only do we want to be purposeful about finding the small-scale manufacturing businesses, finding a diversity of business owners so that we're building an inclusive community of small-scale manufacturing business owners, but we also want to be purposeful about where they go so that we're getting all different kinds of benefits around those businesses, the energy, the passion, the pride that people feel about being around those businesses. So I'm going to give you a couple examples. An artisan manufacturing business. This is a business that's going to be part-time working at home or full-time, maybe even in a storefront, up to about 4 or 5 employees. This is a business where most of the production is being done by hand. I'll give you an example. One of my favorites, Katie Stack. She has Stitch and Rivet, and she creates handbags. They're glorious. I own 2 of them. She's in a micro retail space of about 700 square feet, and she does all of her production there and does some of her retail selling there. Oh, and by the way, of course, she also sells online and sells wholesale. So she has a diversity of revenue sources coming into her business, but also is part of the community and part of a storefront. The second type is a business that might be prototyping a product that is actually being produced at scale somewhere else, or somebody who's doing small batch production. I'll give you a prototype example. It's a business that makes ice pops called Zoku. They create the mold for crazy shaped ice pops. They are in a light industrial building in Hoboken, New Jersey. This is a project we did a few years ago. They do all of the prototyping for their Zoku products in this space. They have a 3D printer, they have a laser cutter, and they have a whole team of design staff there as well. They're bigger. They're more like 20 people, or at least they were at the time when we did this project, so that they can do all of the prototyping on site, and then the production at scale happens elsewhere. Another example is somebody who's really doing production at scale, but scale is still of a limited capacity or of a limited target so that it still fits into the fabric of a neighborhood. One of the businesses I visited is called Vardigan. They are a clothing business. Well, they're a screen printing business. They figured out that they had created wonderful designs and couldn't find anybody who was high-end enough to do the screen printing that they wanted. So they have a design business for t-shirts, but they also have a screen printing business where they bring in contract work from other designers as well. And the last kind of space that I'll talk about is really one that's shared. So we have a shared commercial kitchen you might have heard of. This is where people can come in and either rent a specific bay or they can rent a kitchen area for a couple of hours to produce their food product. It's only for businesses. It's not open to the public, and it is really for businesses that want to be able to scale their food product in some way. What are these businesses? These are artisans, your neighbors, people you know. These are businesses that are scaling a product. They might be making a food product, or they might be making a prototype for some kind of hardware or consumer good, or they might be working at scale, making those shirts, making the furniture, or making the beer that you love to drink. But we know that they're important to keep in the community, and we want to keep them front and center in what we do. So let's keep working on that.